Hey friends, grab a seat and let's have an honest heart-to-heart about something that touches pretty much every one of us at some point. You know how every money expert online seems to have the same script: build a rock-solid budget, log every single dollar you spend, and swear off that morning iced coffee run because small leaks sink ships. But let's be real for a second. How many times have you downloaded a new budgeting app with all the bells and whistles, only to quietly delete it 2 weeks later? You sit down on a Sunday evening with your spreadsheet, coffee in hand, and you swear this time it's different. Then Wednesday rolls around, the inbox is exploding, your boss needs that report yesterday, and suddenly that little Amazon add to cart button starts looking like the only thing that might actually bring a smile back to your face. I've lived that exact loop myself. A few years back, right after I moved to a new city for work, I felt like I was drowning in adult responsibilities, rent, student loans, the whole 9 yards. I tried every system out there, even color-coded Excel sheets my buddy swore by. And every single time I'd fall off the wagon. It wasn't because I was lazy or bad with numbers. It was because I was human, plain and simple. We all are. We're not failing at money because we lack discipline. We're just wired to feel things deeply. And sometimes those feelings quietly steer our choices before we even realize it. Today, I want to walk through this with you gently. No shame, no finger wagging. Just real talk about how our everyday emotions can quietly shape the way we spend. We'll look at why both the heavy days and the really good days can nudge us toward purchases that feel right in the moment, but leave us wondering where the month went. And by the end, you'll have a couple of kind, practical ways to give yourself some breathing room so your hard-earned money can actually support the life you want. One with less stress and more space for the people and moments that matter most. Let's start with those quieter, heavier evenings. Picture this. It's a random Tuesday after the kids are finally in bed, or maybe you just wrapped up a long shift and you're scrolling through your phone on the couch. The news feels heavy, rent keeps creeping up, your car needs new brakes, and maybe your supervisor was short with you for no good reason. Everything starts to feel a little out of your hands, like you're riding in the passenger seat of your own life. We've all been there, right? That gentle ache of wanting to feel like you're steering again. In moments like that, a lot of us naturally reach for something small that puts the decision back in our court. Maybe it's a late night scroll through Target's app and adding a new set of cozy sheets, or opening Amazon and treating yourself to a nice scented candle that promises calm. For just a few seconds while you're choosing the color or picking the shipping speed, you feel like the one in charge. You're making a call, and it feels good. Psychologists talk about this as a natural response to feeling powerless. Our brains are simply looking for a tiny reset button. This isn't some character flaw, it's part of being human. We all want to feel capable and in control, especially when life throws curveballs. And yeah, modern shopping makes it incredibly easy. Those buy now, pay later options split everything into gentle installments, so it doesn't feel like one big hit. But here's the quiet truth many of us discover later. When the package shows up on your porch a couple days later, that little lift can fade pretty quickly. The same heavy feeling is still there, and now there's one more line on the credit card statement. It's not about beating yourself up, it's about noticing the pattern with kindness so you can choose differently next time. Now, here's the part that surprises a lot of people, and honestly, surprised me too when I first started paying attention. Those brighter, lighter days can actually pull us in an even bigger direction. Think about the last time things went really well at work. You nailed a big project, got an unexpected bonus, or finally closed that deal you'd been grinding on for months. Your heart feels full, you're walking a little taller, and everything seems possible. That warm rush of pride is one of the best feelings in the world, and it's completely natural to want to mark the moment. Your mind might whisper, "You've earned this." And suddenly the reliable old Honda in the driveway starts to feel a little plain. Or maybe you catch yourself thinking the weekday dinners at home could use an upgrade to that new Italian place downtown. Before you know it, you're browsing bigger vacations, nicer kitchen gadgets, or even considering a step up in housing because we're doing better now. This gentle shift is what a lot of us call lifestyle expansion. It's not reckless. It's our way of letting the good times feel real and celebrating the hard work we put in. The thing is, these upgrades tend to stick around long after the initial excitement settles into normal life. The new monthly payments become part of the routine, and suddenly you're bringing home more money than ever, but somehow it's disappearing faster. I've watched friends go through this after promotions. One buddy in Chicago landed a great raise and within 3 months had upgraded the apartment and leased a fancier SUV. He was genuinely happy for a while. But 6 months later, he told me he felt more trapped than before because the joy had become the new baseline while the bills stayed loud. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. When we celebrate, we can do it in ways that don't quietly rewrite our entire budget. To make this easier to see in our own lives, I like to sketch out a simple 4-quadrant picture I call the Everyday Spending Patterns Grid. It's just 2 lines, one running from heavier feelings on the left to lighter, happier feelings on the right, and another from smaller purchases at the bottom to bigger ones at the top. Nothing fancy, just a gentle mirror to help us notice where our money sometimes goes when emotions are in the driver's seat. Down in the bottom left corner, you have the small comforts zone. This is the late-night phone scroll where you're picking up a $15 funny mug, some new phone accessories, or a pack of those fancy snacks you saw on TikTok. It feels harmless, like a tiny spark of joy on a rough day, and sometimes it truly is. But when it happens week after week, those little sparks can quietly add up, and suddenly you're wondering where the grocery money went. I have a friend who calls these her quiet Tuesday treats, and she laughs about how they used to sneak up on her until she started noticing the pattern with compassion instead of criticism. Up in the top left, you'll find the bigger reset zone. This is when the things feel really heavy, a tough breakup, a missed promotion, or just one of those seasons where everything piles on, and you decide to go for something substantial to feel solid again. Maybe it's a new watch, a designer bag, or even financing a bigger home upgrade. It's the heart saying, I need to prove to myself I'm still okay. One woman I know in Texas went through a difficult divorce and treated herself to a luxury handbag she'd always admired. She told me it genuinely helped her feel a little stronger in that moment, but looking back, she wishes she'd given herself more time before making such a big decision. Over on the happier side, bottom right is the sharing the good vibes zone. You've just finished a killer week at work, or the kids made the honor roll, so you decide to spread the joy. You buy the next round of drinks for your friends at happy hour, treat the team to lunch, or pick up little gifts for everyone at the family barbecue. These moments are beautiful. They're how we build connection and make memories. But when they become every Friday tradition, the small extras can quietly chip away at the bigger goals we're working toward, like that family vacation fund or paying down debt. I've been guilty of this one myself. Nothing feels better than seeing your people smile, but I've learned to ask myself if the joy can be just as real with a home-cooked meal and good conversation. And finally, top right is the leveling up zone. This is when life is clicking along nicely. A solid raise comes through, or you land that new job, and you decide it's time to match the moment with a bigger lifestyle move. Suddenly, the apartment feels too small, the old car too basic, and you upgrade to something that feels like the next chapter. It's exciting and there's real joy in it, but the payments have a way of locking in before the new reality fully settles. A colleague of mine in Atlanta got promoted and immediately moved into a nicer place and leased a luxury SUV. He felt like a king for the first couple months, but soon the extra hours he was working just to keep up started to wear on him. He eventually stepped back and realized he missed the simpler version of success that left more room for his weekends with his kids. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. Take a quiet moment and think about which of these patterns feels most familiar right now. There's no right or wrong answer, just helpful information. Maybe you'll recognize yourself in one zone more than others, or maybe you move between them, depending on the season. The simple act of seeing it clearly, without beating yourself up, is often the first gentle step toward change. Now that we can see the patterns, the question becomes, how do we work with our very human emotions instead of letting them quietly run the show? I'm not here to tell you to cut up every credit card and live on rice and beans. That advice never stuck for me because it ignored the fact that we're emotional beings living in a busy world. Instead, let me share 2 kind, practical approaches that have helped me and many people I know create some breathing room without feeling deprived. The first one is what I call the 48-hour pause. When you feel that emotional tug, whether it's a heavy day or a celebratory high, and you find yourself hovering over the buy button, go ahead and do the fun part. Add the item to your cart, pick the color, read the reviews, dream a little. Then close the app and walk away for exactly 2 days. No pressure, no guilt. Why 2 days? Because the real spark often lives in the anticipation, not the thing itself. By the time those 48 hours pass, the emotional weather has usually shifted just a bit, and your calmer mind gets a chance to weigh in. 9 times out of 10, I end up deleting the cart with a quiet laugh and realizing I didn't actually need it. It's not about restriction, it's about giving yourself the gift of time and perspective. The second tool is what I call the life hours lens. Our brains don't always feel the weight of $1 when we just tap a card. So let's translate money into something more personal, the actual hours of your one precious life. Let's do the math. If you make $20 an hour after taxes, that $200 jacket does not cost $200. It costs 10 hours of your actual life. Before you buy it, ask yourself a brutally honest question. Is this jacket really worth 10 hours of me sitting in traffic, dealing with a boss I do not even like, and staring at a screen until my eyes burn? Are you willing to trade a full day of your limited time on Earth for a piece of fabric? When you stop looking at price tags and start looking at life tags, your entire perspective shifts. You stop trading your freedom for temporary feelings. The biggest corporations in the world spend billions of dollars every single year just to manipulate your emotions. They want you sad, and they want you spending. But today, you take your power back. If you are ready to build a bulletproof financial system that actually works for your brain, this is Retail Psychology Channel. Manage your money before your emotions manage it for you. Subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care of yourself out there.